Welcome to the Sales Podcast, session 56. Coffee is served. Welcome to the 56th edition of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, your host, the Sales Whisperer. Today is my first of two interviews with a couple of my Louisiana cousins. They happen to be brother and sister, but they're in different businesses. Today, I'm interviewing my cousin Ian, who is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, running the family coffee business. So, because of the topic, today's funny is related to coffee. A guy walks into a coffee shop and he asks the waitress, "How much is a cup of coffee?" And she says, $4. And the guy says, "What?" He says, "How much is a refill?" And she says, "They're free." And the guy says, "I'll take a refill." Now, if you're like me and you grew up with coffee and you appreciate a good cup of coffee, you understand why Starbucks does not give free refills, because we would drink them out of house and home. That would not be a public stock company worth owning, especially after Easter. I'm recording this intro on Monday, April 7th, which means Easter is just 13 days away. I gave up coffee for Lent. Good grief. I will be drinking some coffee Easter Sunday. But even without coffee, the Sales Podcast creed applies, which goes like this. Today is my day. I work diligently towards my goals, which are bigger than me. I bite off more than I can chew, because only then will I truly know my current limits, and surpassing them becomes my new goal for today. Through education, accountability partners, and bold, decisive action, today will be better than yesterday, and tomorrow will be better yet. I'm ready to produce. If you're ready to produce more sales, please visit 30daysalesgrowth.com, enter the promo code podcast, all lowercase, and receive $30 off your subscription. And now, without further ado, my cousin, Ian. Ian Melancon, my cousin in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is on the Sales Podcast. Thanks for taking time, cousin.
Sure thing, man. Glad I could take the call.
So, for the uninitiated, for those that have not been blessed to drink River Road coffee, we're going to get into that in a minute. But give everybody a quick overview of kind of your background and how you came to be working in the family business.
All right. Well, my education and all that leading up to working at this business was nothing to do with coffee.
Hey, yeah, I went to school to be a sales whisperer, so hey.
Yeah, it happens, right? I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, and then 5 years at LSU, all doing computer type stuff, information systems degree. And my dad started this business. He had been in the coffee business for most of his life, and his current employer had decided that after 9 years it was time to let him go, and he decided that it was time to start his own business. So he did. And I guess I just kind of, being the son, helped him out a little bit here and there. And then as he began to grow, my role continued to grow more and more until I guess my full-time position to begin with the company was learning how to roast coffee and source coffee and all of that sort of stuff. So that was groundbreaking and interesting stuff for me. Uh-huh. I enjoy cooking and doing all that stuff already, and so it just fit right into my natural tendencies to make good stuff.
So you were just helping him on the side, like nights and weekends or whatever, just with computer-related stuff, or in the business in general?
Both. We were initially buying our coffee from a specialty coffee roaster in New Orleans, and we would go and pick that up, and that's how we initially started the business, I guess 16 years ago. And so I was helping him box all that up and get it ready to go, and just little things like that. Yeah, weekends and just during the afternoons after school. I was still going to LSU at the time, So I guess shortly after that, about a year of that, we found a local roaster here in Baton Rouge who ran a little coffee shop, and she offered to teach us how to roast coffee and use her roaster and all kind of good stuff like that.
So how long before you went in with him full time? Was it right after college, or were you working on your own for a little while?
No, I really went in right after college. I was working with him, like I said, kind of increasingly over the last couple of years. And then finally, when I got towards the end, he said, you really got to finish school. But once you finish school, you can come to work for me full time. And that's really what I did. I pretty much quickly rolled right into working with him. I managed all the manufacturing and everything to begin with. So that's where I got my start, right out of school.
So was it a tough transition? Because, now you've been there 16 years. Your dad has kind of slowly passed the reins to you, but he's still involved? Yeah. Or how was that?
That's exactly right. Yeah, I'd say 2.5 years ago, I finally bought out the last percentage of the business from him. But still, as a leadership role, I guess until maybe even last year, we finally sort of fully handed off the baton. We just let it happen kind of naturally. We didn't try to force anything to happen. We just slowly handed things off until I was in the leadership role.
So we were talking earlier, and I noticed on your Facebook page, you've got a little bit of different logo, but you're talking about coming out with a new website, redoing the trucks, everything. Can you walk us through what has driven this, the revamping, and do you have metrics? Are you testing this? Are you working with your sister on that? Because I'm interviewing her next later this week, so you better be nice.
Good, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm working with her. What happened? The initial graphics and branding that we had was, I guess 14 years old or so when we started looking at making a change, or kind of really we thought we would just update things,
right?
And so we'd look a little bit newer and fresher and that sort of thing. Well, about the time that we got started with that, the green coffee market went off the charts. So any money that we had, was just eaten up by that until we could finally, catch up with it and get it under control.
So off the charts, the cost, like your cost was going up?
Yeah, I'd say probably at the end, my green coffee cost more than quadrupled in about 18 months.
And are you not able to pass that on to the consumer, or do you have to keep
quickly?
No.
Not quickly. Yeah, we finally did catch up with it, but any type of change you want to do through Walmart or anything like that is 60 days at a minimum.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
The things that we're selling in Walmart are and we learned our lesson. It was a hard lesson to learn.
Right.
Change your prices and change them quick, and don't be shy.
Right. And was that just a contractual thing, or is Walmart just a pain in the butt to deal with?
They're a pain in the butt to deal with. Actually, I've found that there are other stores that are harder to deal with, but they are, compared to the local grocery stores, Walmart's not very responsive.
Right. All right. So you had a little price shock.
Yeah.
And so when was that? A couple of years ago?
That was about 3 years ago.
All right.
And it ended, and then at that point, like I had said, I'm kind of running the business now. And it's my baby, and it's my vision, and it's my look and feel on the company.
Right.
So we just decided, since I had already been pushing things the way I wanted them to go, and a little bit different focus than what my dad initially started the business with, that we would just go ahead and start the rebranding process all over again. And of course, that's what my sister does for a living.
Right.
So she agreed with me that was time to do that sort of thing. And so we got started. And we spent all of last year, starting in January, just getting all the pieces in place, the look and the feel and the colors and the message and all that. And just this January, it's starting to roll out now.
Right. So walk us through that, because I've kind of done that as well. I expanded my team last summer. Brought on a web guy in, July, August. Brought Denny on in late August, I guess. And redid my website, doing a lot of things. And it is just now, so that we're a good 8 to 9 months into this, and just starting to feel comfortable in the direction we're going. So can you walk us through your path there?
Yeah, the way that we got started was I went down and sat with Design the Planet's team, and we had a couple meetings where we rigorously went over, hey, what they were asking me, what do you see the company being? What do you want to do? Where are you going with it? And we spent a lot of time just talking about that until they had a really good picture of my vision for the company. And then we started going back and forth with graphics and messages for some time, really. They said, hey, this is what we think you think. What do you think of it? And I would send them back a response. And then slowly but surely, we firmed up everything until we have the current logo and the colors that go with it, and also the messages and things that we really want to hone in on and continue to focus on and stay on message with. So
is this like a personal decision? Or was there a dip in sales, or was growth not as aggressive as you wanted, or what was driving that change?
Well, like we were halfway through like the revamp. So we had some kind of half-done graphics out there, half-done messages. We still had some of the old stuff and then some of the new stuff. So we were kind of caught halfway in between, and something had to be done.
Right.
Already. I mean, we knew it. We knew that something had to be done. The I don't know what to say, but the half change needed to be completed.
Right.
And so we just used that opportunity to just go ahead and, instead of just getting a little fresher look on what we already had been doing, we just decided to go ahead and get my look in the company and use that opportunity, since it needed to be done anyway, to just go ahead and do it all the way from the bottom.
Right. So this is kind of like a next generation as well, just a way to you to kind of put your stamp on the business.
Yeah, a little bit. I've taken the direction a little bit farther, a little bit different than my dad initially had. I'm angling and pushing the company for more upscale and type of clientele and products and those sorts of things than he initially was. And I'm trying to make myself distinguished, and this is the way I'm trying to do it, and the way I think it'll win. So that's the way I love to operate. So it's just my vision, and it's just, I don't know, a little different than what my dad was doing.
And how big is the company now?
We've got 6 employees. We cover, I don't know, a little bit over a 60-mile radius of Baton Rouge. We're a bit over, revenue's a bit over $1 million. And just really some really good things are happening for us right now. Whole Foods continues to pick us up in the local areas and Louisiana stores.
Right.
I don't know if y'all have Fresh Market where you are, but Fresh Market is kind of a upscale grocery store in our area.
Right.
And several of them, they continue to pick us up. Starting this year, Whole Foods and Fresh Market we've been calling us to stock their new stores and different stores in our area that we're branching out to.
Nice.
So we're growing in that fashion as well, which has been really nice.
Did you go after them, or did they find you, or how did that relationship begin?
Well, we decided in the beginning that we were just going to focus on local. We're a coffee service company, offices and restaurants, but we also had a presence in the grocery stores, kind of to go back and forth and help each other, those lines. And so we really weren't branching outside, but we got the Fresh Market and the Whole Foods in Baton Rouge because we wanted to continue to saturate our market here.
Right.
And once we went through all their processes to get picked up, then they just started saying, hey, we don't have a local roaster in Mandeville. Hey, same thing in Covington. They don't have one. Oddly enough, they haven't had anybody come into their stores, and even in New Orleans,
right?
Which is very strange because they have tons of roasters over there.
That's crazy.
But none of them have gotten into that market, so we're capitalizing on it.
How do you get there with just 6 people? I mean, you're starting to cover a big area.
Keep it simple, stupid. I mean, really, keep it simple. The way I like to put it is we just do a few things. We don't get overly complicated, but the things we do, we really do well. And so that was a big lesson I learned from my dad years ago was, if you try to go out there and diffuse your work and don't stay focused on what you do, you can work yourself to death and not accomplish a whole lot.
Right. Do y'all have a little shop where people can come in and buy it by the cup? Were y'all experimenting with that, do I remember, or no?
No, we supply a number of coffee shops, the independently owned coffee shops, but we don't have our own. It's something we talk about from time to time, but it's really a whole nother business. It's a restaurant versus, we're a service company, delivery and service company, and coffee shop is like a restaurant. We realize that it would benefit us in the community if we had our name out there again somewhere else, but the workload and the risk in opening that up right now is just be too much on our plate.
Yeah. So how do you grow now moving forward?
Well, we're continuing to be more consistent with our advertising. I guess that was something we hadn't done really well in the past, but we're learning our lessons, and we're learning that consistent, low-level advertisement pays off pretty big in the long term.
What does that mean? What's low-level advertising?
Just a trickle on the radio, or mainly what I'm talking about is radio, I suppose. We're not spending a ton of money to be on prime time or on all the time. We're picking our spots, but we're being consistent with it. We're on somewhere every week. We're on somewhere. We're not having these 2, 3, 4 month gaps where we're not having any advertising going on at all.
Mm-hmm. So what was happening there? It was just not your focus. You just had other fires to put out.
Yeah. Well, the way we really operate is to grow our business directly is we do a route sales position, which is we go and service our current clients on a regular basis once a month. And while we're there, we make cold calls on their neighbors or just down the street from them. And that's really how we get 95% of our customers is gotcha. Through that sort of method. Advertising just makes it easier.
Right.
People, we're the little guys in town compared to the monstrosity of community coffee. We're probably 1% of their size, and that's who everybody knows in Baton Rouge. They've been here for 100 years. So, a lot of people, even though we've been in business for 16 years, says they've never heard of us before. When we step in their office. So this advertising at least gets us a little warmer inside the door. People, I've heard of your company before. I've heard of radio. At least it gives us a little bit warmer welcome. It gives us a bit better opportunity to win on the sales call.
Have you tried any type of TV or print ads that have produced any type of significant results?
We haven't done any TV, and print ads don't. Well, our current experience with print ads have been nothing noticeable. Right. I mean, we've spent some money at it, but we haven't noticed any results. Radio seems, at least for us, to be the most bang for the buck. We run, like I was telling you, these little ads, spots on the radio, and I get more response of people saying that they heard it, they liked the commercial, they heard it, and all that than any other thing we've ever done.
And who produces that? Does Adrienne help with that, or she?
Yeah, she writes the. No, she does the whole kind of. Cool. The whole deal. She's got a good staff over there, but they wrote all the text and look and feel of it out, and they had the professionals at the radio station actually produce the ad.
Gotcha. And now, are you going to try to expand your internet presence to get online orders, or is that just kind of a byproduct that you'll take if it comes, but still focus locally?
Still focused locally. That, of course, Design the Planet thinks that we could do a little bit more on the internet that we do. We do have a shopping cart, so people can order our coffee. Largely, that's we started it to satisfy the people who were from Baton Rouge or the surrounding areas and moved out of town and wanted some of their home coffee from home. Right. Type. It's how we initially set it up. but it's continued to grow. It supports itself, and they think that we could capitalize more on that and actually have it as a good profit center. But that's not what we really do. Our main thrust, our main focus in our company is we're a coffee service company.
Okay.
We provide equipment to an office, and all the supplies that go along with it, the coffee and the cream and the sugar and all that sort of stuff. And so that's really what we focus on doing the most. Everything else kind of goes along to support that.
Come on, cousin. We got to kick Starbucks out, man. Let's go. You and me and Adrian, we're going to take over the coffee world.
That would be good. That might be a good team. We got a great salesperson, a great marketing person, and I know how to make it all.
Make some coffee. So
right.
So what are the plans? I don't know if we really talked about it, for the next year, 3 or 5. Are you expanding the team, or are you going to try to expand more into the internet? Are you just going to keep it simple, stupid, and just steady as she goes?
Well, we are expanding for the first time. We're purposefully expanding our territory. Okay. We had been expanding our territory just kind of organically. We go out to this street, and then just so happens we make a call down one more block down, and we pick that up. Type of growth, but we're actually specifically targeting a new area that we haven't been in before. It's a suburb of New Orleans. We're targeting Covington. Mm-hmm. So we're going to target that and start to penetrate that and see how that goes. That'll be our first time to really go out and say, okay, this is a brand new area. It's not really attached to any of our current routes or anything. We're going to try to penetrate that and see how that goes.
So how'd you decide what area to grow in?
The demographics of Covington fit most of the demographics of people that drink our coffee, right. Appreciate our coffee. So that's one thing. It's heavily weighted in that area. And to go along with that, we had some requests from our online orders of all things from people ordering from Covington.
Yep.
Saying, getting our coffee there already. So we knew we had some following already there. Even though they were outside of our territory, they were willing to order it online and get it sent to their houses. And we had, after Hurricane Katrina, we picked up a couple coffee shops in the area that we had been sending coffee to in Covington area. We've been sending them for years. Uh-huh. And so we've got kind of a nucleus there. So that's one of the main reasons, another reason rather, that we've decided to go there and do that there.
So are you adding headcount to help that, or just kind of you have to modify the routes? How do you go after that from a manpower standpoint?
Right now, we're just going to work it harder. Mainly, I guess I am. Yeah. What I'm doing is I'm absorbing some of the work from a couple of our guys to allow them to have more time to spend there and sell there. The whole plan will be to wrap up other things and hire again. But we're going to, of course, being a small business, can't afford, when you have 6 people, one extra salary is a large draw on the company. Right. So until we get some more sales in, I'm gonna lump it until it becomes too much.
Yep. There you go. Put the pack on, Marine, and just head down, shut up.
Well, that's the way it's always been. You work and you work and you work until you just feel like you're going to drown, and then you go hire somebody.
So I always say, hire slow, fire fast.
Yes. I've learned my lesson with that too. And the other thing I've learned recently over the last couple years is if you have an opportunity, test them.
How do you do that?
Well, we run a disc profile.
Oh yeah,
and we have some benchmarks that we look at for people we have had successful in the positions.
Yep.
And so we disc profile them. That's not all, but that's a good indicator for us. Your idea that you had sent to me a few years ago. We do. We see if they'll follow through on basic tasks. So if they send in a resume, we'll say, "Well, call me at 12 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll have an interview."
Right.
Or do they call you at 12? Are they late? Tests like that.
Yep.
Things like that. We do basic math tests. Just not really because we don't think that they can do the math, but will they go ahead and take the time to take the little quizzes?
Right.
That sort of thing.
And then must they also like coffee?
Absolutely. We've had people hired that even wanted to roast our coffee that didn't drink coffee, don't like coffee. We're like, how can you do that? It's all about the experience. It's all about the taste, the senses.
It's like a vegetarian working at Burger King. Like,
I know.
Come on.
Yeah, you can't swing that. So no, we're not saying that you have to be a coffee connoisseur. We're not saying that you got to be the person who drinks 3 pots a day, but you got to be able to appreciate a good cup of coffee. And I don't know how you can sell something that you don't, agree with or like yourself.
Right.
I just don't see how you do it successfully.
So just from a curiosity standpoint, what does make a good cup of coffee? What is your process, without giving away the farm?
Yeah.
I mean, what's unique in how coffee is made and how the beans are selected and everything? Right.
Well, that is a fun part. That's really probably the most fun part of my job is kind of like wine tasting. There are every country that produces coffee, mainly they're third world countries, Brazil, Mexico, Peru, India produces some, Sumatra.
I think
Kenya.
You might get in trouble for calling Mexico and Brazil and Peru third world countries.
Well, have you visited there recently?
Nope, I haven't. So good point.
Yeah, they may not be that way, but boy, I tell you, when you go over there and you see people living in mud huts with a tin roof,
I do know. I used to have a client in Tijuana, and I no longer go there. It has become too risky. But
yeah, I can believe it. So we won't say that about Mexico, maybe, but I tell you, it's not like living here anyway.
Yep.
But anyway, so each country that produces coffee probably has, I would say, maybe 50 grades of their coffee.
Wow.
So can you imagine, I'm choosing for my blend, I'm choosing 4 different coffees from 4 different countries. So that's 200-300 samples that I could have. So what happens is they have the professional brokers, and they know the grade of quality that I want, and they send that to me. And what we do is we want an affordable, high-grade coffee. There's kind of a level in coffee where, I don't know, you can liken it to other products, but there's a place where it's a high-quality, repeatable type of flavor,
right.
Maybe like single malt scotch or something like that. A single barrel, it's not repeatable. Those really tremendously, coffee scotches that just go off the chart per bottle.
Right.
But the problem is it's just not repeatable. And with coffee, especially in offices and all that, people want their good coffee all the time.
Right.
But what we do is we choose the highest grade coffee we can find that we can reasonably repeat.
Yeah.
And once we get that, what we really do is we just try not to mess it up too much. I mean, it's the honest truth. We take the high grade quality coffee, and you can only mess it up from there. So when we roast the coffee, we don't do anything to adulterate it. We don't spray water on it to quench it, which is a lot of people cool it down quickly that way. But it also adds water back into your product, which is a staling agent, and we don't want that. We don't. A lot of the large companies grind the chaff back into the coffee, and chaff is coffee pops like popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
Not as dramatic, but it does pop like popcorn, and a little chaff comes off of it. So people can still say that it's 100% coffee, but it may be what we would call waste. Chaff. They'll take it, pelletize it, and grind it back into their coffee.
Right.
So we don't do anything like that. And then we try to get it in the bag as fast as we can. Our retail product has a one-way valve on it, so instead of having to wait for 48 or 72 hours of a degassing period because it puts off gas for a while after roasting CO2, we're able to get it in the bag right away.
Right.
And then we keep our shelf life really, really tight. I don't know anyone else that keeps the shelf life as short as we do. Ours is 8 weeks total. Mm-hmm. Most of our competitors, at least all the ones I'm aware of, they may not even get their stuff on the shelf that fast.
Right.
And we're by that, 8 weeks, a little under 2 months, we're pulling that stuff off because it just, our edge is beginning to lose our edge over our competitors.
So what do? Do you throw it away?
We throw it away.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Well, we do a good job though.
Right.
Keep it simple, stupid, and keep everybody trained. We stock our stores appropriately.
Yep.
Since we do it ourselves, we know how much our individual stores are using, so we don't throw a tremendous amount away. We do a good job of stocking the stores appropriately.
Right. Tight inventory control and management. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You got to keep waste down.
Yeah.
So, well, I like the little valve too, because then we can smell the coffee, and that's a little added benefit for you, isn't it?
That's what everybody thinks it's for. But when you see the valves, they think it's for them to smell it, but it's really just a one-way valve.
Uh-huh.
Of course, design a plan Adrian has put on there. It's called freshness valve that she puts over the top. So she puts some little graphics on our new bag so you can see it and understand that we do it for a reason type thing.
Right. Well, and that's smart though. I mean, it's the freshness valve, and it's true. It's like, it reminds me of the one of the Mad Men shows. You ever watch that?
Yeah. I haven't watched it in a while, but I watched it in the beginning. It was great.
It's set like in the 60s, and I remember one of the cigarette companies, I don't know if it was Marlboro, one of them coming in, and he's like, walk me through your process. He says, well, we do this, we lay the tobacco out, we roast it, yada, yada. And he goes, there you go, it's roasted. And they're like, everybody roasts. He says, yes, nobody says it.
That's right, yeah.
Right? And so you got this little valve. Some people are like, what the heck's it for? So you give it a name. It's a freshness valve. So
that's right.
It's right there, literally under your nose, right? So give it a name. Take it, and that's it's a great angle. It's a great argument for having somebody from the outside come in and look, because we'll look over things that it's like obvious to us, but somebody else is like, it's not obvious.
Right. Right.
That's unique.
The funny thing I like in that too is I think it's really funny for perception is, you could put on a bag of sugar that is fat free or trans fat free, and you have companies that do things like that. When you go and look at it, you're like, well, of course that product doesn't have, wheat in it. It's sugar. It's gluten-free sugar.
You can put that in your coffee, man.
That's right. I could put gluten-free coffee.
You ought to put all kind of things. Hey, you got to test it. Why not, huh?
It could work.
Put some stickers on it and try it. I mean, how else are you going to know?
That's right.
Oh, man. Well, very cool, cousin. Where can people find you? Where's your home on the web?
Well, it's River Road Coffees with an S on the end.com. And you can read all about us. And probably in another couple of weeks, the brand new website will be up. And so you'll get to see all the revamped and new and spiffy, shiny graphics.
Yep. And but I noticed, too, you bought both domain names, right? River Road Coffee and Coffees, because people will leave the S off.
They will, no matter how many times you tell them.
Yeah. Well, that's good, though. I mean, you bought multiple domains and just redirect them because to make sure you get the traffic. And I've told people, if you've got a funny spelling or something, go buy all the misspellings.
Right.
Because you never know. I mean, we always talk about in your writing, keep it at the 5th grade level. Right. And because that's truly the average citizen reads at that level. Right. So don't assume they're going to get it right.
That's right. That's very true.
That was smart of you. All right. Well, I'm going to tell everyone, go buy my cousin's coffee, riverroadcoffees.com. And then later this week, I'm going to interview his sister, Adrian, that owns Design the Planet, a great marketing firm, and see how she has helped her family's business grow while she grew her own business.
That's right.
All right. Now, when you get like 10,000 extra orders because of this podcast, I expect a bag of coffee. All right.
I will send you your very own super fresh bag of coffee
With the freshness valve.
with the freshness valve for sure.
Very cool. All right, man. Thanks, Ian.
Sure, Wes.
See you, brother.
See you, man.
There you have it. Keep it simple. Focus on what you do well and stay at it. Stay consistent with your advertising. Purposefully expand your territory when it's right. Okay, know your numbers. See how he knew his demographics. He saw where the orders were coming from for new orders, and he said, all right, it's a no-brainer to expand in that area. Hire slow, fire fast. Test all of your new hires. He uses the DISC profile, the assessments, which I recommended as well. If you are a business owner or a sales manager and need help with bringing on better salespeople, please check out nomoresalesduds.com. nomoresalesduds.com. When you order that, you get 30-day sales growth for free. So please check that out. And again, thanks for listening. Please leave some comments on the website. Give us a review on iTunes. It's thesalespodcast.com. And finally, remember to sell different.